Hey everybody, this is Diane. Hello and welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell, and apologies beforehand that we're kind of low energy right now.
Yeah, we're both really tired today. It's Saturday evening-ish in
11th.
our house.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday, September 11th.
Yeah.
Hang in there, everybody.
Yep.
I hope you all made it through the day okay, and I hope that however you chose to spend it, you found some peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough day. I mean, 20 years later, and it's one of those things where, you always know exactly where you were at the time.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of where were you? What were you doing? I've seen a lot of those kind of...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I intensely remember the feeling. So, as 20 years ago, I can't believe it's been 20 years, but, it's stuck there in the memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we are here to talk about season 11, episode 3, The Hunted.
Actually, it's just Hunted. I
Hunted,
put The Hunted on my notes, and then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, it's just Hunted.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here staring at the IMDb, and it's just Hunted also.
Last time I went first with ratings, so this time it's your turn.
So I rated it a little lower. I didn't quite like this episode as much as
that's so funny, because I actually like this one better. So
of course. I rated it 4.0 magic mushrooms.
I rated it 4.425 shit plans out of 5. Sorry, Rob, but I kind of figure we're in the waning days of having to be nice, so...
Yeah. Oh.
So I do have some numbers because we're podcasting this one a little late as well. So it had 1.87 million same-day views, which is down from the season premiere of 2.22 million same-day views. I'm kind of thinking that maybe people were, a little more excited about the premiere, and now they're like, okay, I can stream it later.
Yeah. Yeah. This one was also rated a bit lower on IMDb.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The episode 1 was 8.8, 2 was 9.0, and this one's an 8.4, but of course it has fewer reviews than the first two, so we'll see if that continues to go up or not.
Yeah. Well,
have you watched the next episode?
No, I haven't yet.
I was bad and I watched it.
You told me last night that you were about halfway through it, so...
Yep. Oh, it's good.
Good.
Yeah.
I did see some kind of clickbaity sort of stuff, and it I will not spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, but they were teasing some stuff that I didn't like. So... Yeah. Although it sounds like maybe from your reaction, that probably didn't happen, because I think you would have the same reaction that I had.
Interesting. We might have to talk off pod.
Yeah. All right, so the title to this was Hunted, and I came up with nothing more clever than, well, our survivors were being hunted by the Reapers.
And the girls were hunting for horses.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I think it
Carol,
was pretty on the
literally.
nose. As we come to find out, we will totally talk about that, because I think you and I both have complicated feelings, but they're not necessarily the same feeling.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So our writer was Vivian Tse, T-S-E. I never know if I'm saying her name properly. She has written a total of 6 episodes of Walking Dead. She's worked on about 20 in the story room. And I really feel like Morningstar is still the best episode that she was involved with.
Remind me what Morningstar was about again?
Morningstar was one where they were defending Hillside from Alpha's group.
Yeah, and I argue that the weapon was not actually a Morningstar.
Correct.
It was a mace.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't have a heck of a lot more to say about her. I actually was thinking, okay, she was involved in doing some work on Preacher, and no, actually, I don't think she was. So I looked at her IMDb and didn't see any listings for Preacher.
Mm-mm.
But our director is kind of cool. He's got a whole bunch of stuff. So this is his first Walking Dead episode. He is also directing the episode that you just finished, episode 4, called Rendition. He's got a total of 45 director credits in IMDb, but listen to some of the stuff he's done. The Boys, Watchmen, Lost, Man in the High Castle, Westworld, which I didn't watch, but I've got tons of friends who loved it.
Mm-hmm.
American Gods. He is working on he has worked on a Jason Momoa series for Apple Plus called C.
Yeah, that looked a little bit interesting.
So he's got tons of credits. I just listed off the ones that kind of spoke to me and that were pretty recent.
Yeah. He has definitely worked on a lot of things that I have also watched in addition. Falling Skies, I've talked about that one before. That was a really good series. Fringe, amazing. If you love X-Files, you should watch Fringe.
Is it just you and I that have talked about Fringe, or did Brian and I talk about Fringe also?
You and Brian may have talked about Fringe,
okay.
But I know I've talked about Fringe.
Okay.
Rizzolian Isles, Revolution, that's a really good post-apocalyptic, basically, I think an EMP hits the world, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of takes us back about 100 or 200 years. The Good Wife and The Good Fight. I love both of those shows. Designated Survivor. That was a really great show. The series Snowpiercer, which I really need to go find that one and watch it, because
I know there was quite a big deal about that.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was great, and if you're a fan of the movie, you really should find the YouTube video that says Snowpiercer exists in the Willy Wonka universe. It's really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so the most recent one that I know him from is Evil, which I think it moved to Netflix. It has the guy who played Luke Cage.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a really good series. Season 1 was pretty good, but season 2 that just came out looks amazing. So that may be one that I binge here soon.
Okay.
So yeah, dude's got some chops.
Yeah, and he's done, a lot of really interesting kind of comic booky, kind of more our genre kind of stuff. So I definitely was pretty excited when I saw his IMDb page. All right, and then we decided that for featured cast, we were going to talk about one of the 3 people who died this episode. So I said, just go ahead and pick one, and you picked...
I picked Agatha, Laurie Fortier. Fortier?
I would have said Fortier. Yeah.
Okay. So, and surprisingly so, because I have, since episode 1, I have kind of been crushing on Duncan. So I'm really sad to see him go, and Cole was also seemed to be an awesome character, so I was really sad to see him go. And what's funny is I feel like Agatha was a really backgroundish character, but when I checked out her IMDb, I'm like, that's why she looks so familiar.
Oh my god, she has done so much stuff for Lifetime.
Right? TV movie.
Totally, man. Yeah.
I mean, she's coming up in 2 TV movies. But what I know her most from is Netflix's 3rd original series, Hemlock Grove.
Yes. Okay. And I did not watch it, but the ex was very into it.
So season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was really weird, and I actually did not finish out season 3, so I really should go back and rewatch, which means I'd have to go back and rewatch 1 and 2 to remember what happens in 3, because there was a lot of storylines going on. But she was in 13 episodes. She played a member of the main focal point family in the show. So, like I said, a really good movie. It's not a movie, show. It was Netflix's first foray into horror, and I think they did really, really well. And it was back when Netflix would actually do more than one season of stuff. Although they've kind of relaxed on that, because I think we're going to get a season 4 of Stranger Things.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention. I watched seasons 1 and 2, but I don't think I watched 3. So
yeah. So Laurie was in the trifecta of the CSI world. She was in CSI Prime, basically, CSI New York, and CSI Miami. So no Law and Orders.
Right. I looked for those too.
So she has also, like we said, been in a ton of TV movies. None that I recognize. I'm not a huge Lifetime movie type fan.
No, me either. For as much as we joke because of My Favorite Murder, I mean, those are totally Lifetime movie situations.
I love the names of them, because you can pretty much tell the plot from the
Not
name.
My Daughter.
My Mom's Darkest Secret. Erasing his past into the arms of danger.
Oh my god.
Picture Perfect Lies.
So horrible.
They're so cheesy. Like, honestly, I would love to do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 type show just around.
That would be so funny.
Hallmark, and like we would have to have a ton of wine, like cheap wine.
That would be very funny.
Oh yeah. So I was like, when I watched her in this episode, I had never really paid close attention to her before, and I was like, I know her from somewhere, and it's definitely Hemlock Grove. So she was born February 25th, 1974. She has 2 adorable children. And her Instagram is pretty cool. She's got some like behind the scenes photos of her whenever she works on a project, and then she's an avid skier,
and a yogi, according to her IMDb page.
And if you pay attention to her Instagram pictures, she is an avid traveler. She has got some amazing pictures. She visited South Africa and went to where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, and went to his cell. She's got this beautiful picture of Petra, which is that.
Oh yeah, in Jordan.
Yeah, that basically everyone will recognize it from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The castle that's basically carved out of, I say castle, it's not a castle. It's carved out of, like, into the stone.
Yeah.
She's got a picture of herself at the Colosseum, multiple pictures of her in places with amazing palm trees, Vatican City. So I'm sure she is just itching for COVID to be over so that she can travel again, because she just looks like she is like just jet set. It looks amazing. So she has some awesome pictures on her Instagram. She is at Laurie, Laurie, the number 4 TA on Instagram.
As in the letter T, the letter A.
Yep. Laurie Fortier.
Laurie Fortier. So exactly the way that we were pronouncing it.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. So, Not a whole lot out there about her. Like I said, she is coming up in 2 TV movies. One called Sugar Mommy.
Oh my god.
And one
for Lifetime?
It just says TV movie. The other one is The Nanny Knows. Oh, it looks like there's one that's probably out called Killer Grades.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They just sound dreadful.
They do. It's so fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be a fairly short episode because I don't have much for Whisperer's Corner. So I have just a few words about Eric Kane's review of this episode, and he titled his article "All the Pretty Horses."
Oh.
So he was pretty dissatisfied with the writing. He was like, gosh, Walking Dead's gotten so much better since season 7 and 8. And, we've had some really great episodes, but the writing overall is still really sloppy.
Yeah, and I see his point. He makes the point about how the women on foot, rustled these horses into a corral. And he pointed out, I think last episode where, or no, maybe it was episode 1, where the Yumiko and Princess and everybody basically like had this miraculous escape and, stole the guard stuff and almost got away. And then they came back and it was like, there was absolutely nothing about like how they actually got out of their cages, and I get it, but there's only so much time. Each show is, almost 1 hour and there's just not a lot of time to show every single part.
But I think you can do it in such a way that it's not sloppy. I mean, I have to agree with him. One of the things that I wrote in Rotting Potpourri when I was taking notes was, how did these women suddenly become horse wranglers?
So
I mean, Carol, I would give Carol some grace because she lived in the kingdom and she was married to Ezekiel and they had horses. I would give her some grace. Yeah, no, not the other 3.
My only thing is I think the way I probably sort of put those pieces together in my mind is, by the end of it, Kelly determines that the horses wanted to come home. And if they are tame horses, if they were born and raised, in the apocalypse or for the most part, lived the last 10 years in the apocalypse and have been workhorses, then they're I would think they would be kind of more, I guess, kind of relying on humans.
I gotta tell you, it's not a thing.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I think
they are very fear driven and they
Yeah.
are very food driven.
Yeah. I think I sort of see it as like, if it were somebody's pet dog,
No, they're not like a pet dog. They have way more will than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Basically, it's a 1,500-pound partner that you hope wants to play nice with you today.
Well, luckily the horses were cooperative. The thing that I thought was weird though is I feel like they showed a lot more horses like running towards the pen and there were more in the pen
than there were in. Yeah.
And then they brought 4 back,
right.
And I'm like, what happened?
And if they were
other,
such good wranglers, they could have brought several. Each person could have been leading several.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about it more, I know, but the horse storyline bothered me for so many reasons. The other thing that Eric Kane said was he was puzzled at how much he has come to like Negan and dislike Maggie. And I think that actually a lot of us are feeling the same.
Yeah, I don't dislike Maggie. And I think it's because I rationalize it in that, she hasn't been here this entire time to see Negan's progression, and I think she has been the most aggrieved by Negan, so I get where she's coming from. But yeah, I still like Negan.
I probably would not say that I actively dislike Maggie. I'm shocked by how similar Maggie and Negan are.
Yes, we will totally talk about that.
Yeah. The only other thing that I wrote down, because again, I was telling you before we logged on, so much of the stuff that I looked at felt like it was clickbait. It didn't feel like it was good news, so I didn't really feel like I had a lot to share. And I'm going to be honest and say I did not look at the news about the Fear the Walking Dead trailer beyond seeing that Fear is going to pit Morgan against Strand. Yeah.
I think that was sort of a foregone conclusion at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did write down one that was somewhat clickbaity. It was from Screen Rant, and it basically suggests that the conversation that Rosita had about Abraham is suggesting that perhaps we're going to get Cudlitz for a cameo, and that basically we'll have like a visitation or a dream sequence with Abraham.
So I was really hoping when she was talking about her dream, I was like, why didn't they show it? So hopefully maybe they will. And, her talking about how she can never hear what he's saying. Maybe that when they show it, that'll be the time that she'll be able to actually hear his message.
Oh, okay. I'm willing to hear that out. I mean, I like Michael Cudlitz. I really like the Abraham character. I wouldn't be sad to see him come back for a cameo.
Yeah,
so,
me either.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, there really wasn't much this.
Yeah, I mean, there was also some stuff about the World Beyond trailer, and I'm going to be honest and say I didn't look at that either.
Yeah. Yeah. The Screen Rant article that caught my eye was The Walking Dead is ruining Gabriel's story by copying Fear the Walking Dead.
So did you read it? I saw it, but I didn't read it.
I've kind of skimmed through it, and I don't know. You could always say that it's always the same trope over and over. I mean, you could watch any soap opera that's on and they just replay this. Because, I mean, there's only so many situations you can put people in and, in a non-supernatural show. And, it's the human condition. Like, okay, you could say it's copying, or you could just say that, that's how people react. So... clickbaity kind of.
Yeah, and oh boy, man, I must have had 10 Screen Rant articles pop up in my feed when I looked for news about The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I'm not going to click on all of these because I've kind of got the sense from the first couple that I clicked on that it's not really anything substantive. It's not anything that is like founded in knowledge about the series. It's just somebody writing an article saying, yeah, I think this might happen.
Yeah. It's punditry.
Yeah, there you go. It's punditry about The Walking Dead. How far we've fallen. Well, so you get to go first with your good.
So my good to this episode, there was one specific scene, but overall the Maggie and Negan continuation of Maggie and Negan storyline. But I absolutely loved when Negan was like, really? So we're just going to run towards the screaming now? Cool. I miss some of the levity that used to happen when we had characters like Glenn on the show.
Right.
And I kind of think that, we should sort of insert, a few of those one-liners every now and then. And I'm really, really glad they gave it to Negan because JDM is so good at pulling those off.
I was just thinking the same thing. He carries off the one-liners pretty well.
Yeah. So Maggie and Negan were my good this episode. How many, who kept count? How many times did he save her? At least 3.
I think actually Eric Kane kept count.
So after she had stabbed the Reaper with the bottle and he still wasn't going down, he took the Reaper down. And then the one Reaper threw, I want to call it a flashbang. I don't think it was a full-on grenade, through the flashbang. And granted, I don't think either of these times she would have died, but it certainly made things a lot better for her in the long run, because, you know, while flashbangs aren't actual grenades, they still do some concussive damage to, like, the ears, and, you know, the flash in the eyes will blind you. And so, yeah, she was much better off for Negan in that scene. And then later on, when poor Agatha is dying a horrible death and is already a goner, she is trying to save Agatha, and Negan pulls her away for her own good. So, like, you know, for the guy who supposedly dropped her from the top of the subway train, you know, I think he's more than made up for it at this point. Like, he is what's keeping her on track. And her little, "Stop pretending you're one of us, Negan."
Right.
Yeah, he's totally one of you. Get over it.
But then again, there's part of me that says, we can't say get over it. She watched him beat her husband's head in with a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat.
Yeah, and at the end, you know, after how many times Negan saved her, we end on that imagery of
the crowbar.
The crowbar and Maggie in the background.
Yeah.
You know, like, that just had
that
to
was
be
totally
so
intentional.
Triggering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That had to be so triggering for her, though. Like, for, even if she was like, like, he's kind of saved my life a couple of times, and maybe he's not such a bad guy, and I can kind of trust him, like, that probably just drained all of that away. So we will see in coming episodes. But that was my good. Maggie and Negan this episode. What was yours?
Well, I have to tell you, it's so funny. Mine was Maggie and Negan, too. And what I wrote was, I really like the interplay between Maggie and Negan, because it's one of the truly interesting dynamics going on in the show right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be frustrating at times when Maggie says stuff like, "Stop pretending you're one of us." But truly, the exchanges that they have, and just the way that thus far the writers have continued to show how similar they are, makes it a very, very interesting dynamic. I like it a lot.
You know, and I don't know how to put it into words. I don't know if they balance each other out well, or if they bring out the better part of the other. Because when they were found Alden, and they were arguing about what their next steps were, I think that Maggie was right. I don't know what the hell Negan thought that they were going to do. Like, he's like, "We got to stay off the roads," or whatever. And I'm like, what? Like, are you going to go back? Are you going to go forward? Are you going to stay where you are? Like, back is just as bad as forward, and staying where you are is no good, because you really don't have any food or supplies or anything, and all your people are dead. So, like, and she's basically like, "Do you have a better plan?" And so I love that both of them, like, together, they're a great team, and, you know, neither of them will ever admit it.
I'm not even sure I'd say they're a great team. I would just say that they're a super interesting foil for each other.
Well, they make a great pair for the camera.
Yes. Most definitely.
So my bad, it was kind of a minor bad, and I think Eric Kane seemed to like it. Father Gabe, like, I just don't know what to think about him anymore. I really, really liked the whole "God's not here anymore," you know?
No, Eric Kane was like, that was the best line of the episode.
He's just so all over the map with whether or not he's like a good bad guy or a bad good guy, or like, you know, we started out with a coward and now we have this badass. Like, I I don't know how I feel about Father Gabriel other than I honestly think, like, and I'm really, really sorry about this because I do like the actor. But, you know, I think his character probably should have been dead a long time ago.
He has outlived where his character was in the book.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I actually really liked him. I one of the things that I wrote down, and I think Eric Kane said this in his article too, was this is not the Gabriel that we met back in what, season 4?
No, it's
this is
not.
not the Gabriel that we met.
I feel like they either need to give him a storyline or he's got to go. Like, it's just too sporadic. Like, like I said, how I feel about him is all over the map, just because, like, you never know if you're getting the good Father Gabe or if you're getting, bad or cowardly Gabriel, or like, I hated the whole he's with Rosita thing. Like, I don't know.
They haven't really spent much time on that, have they?
No. So yeah, really, what's funny is I really liked the God's Not Here Anymore, but it just every time we get a little piece of Father Gabriel, I'm just like, you guys either need to do something with him or like make it a meaningful death, you know? Sorry, Seth.
Yeah, there's part of me that's like, this far in, are we getting meaningful deaths for anybody?
We certainly didn't for Maggie's crew.
Yeah, I don't
think.
I mean, I actually thought that Marcus had the potential to be a pretty cool character, and I was really bummed out by losing him.
Yes. Because like I said, I would have loved to have seen all of the names that Negan could have come up with calling him.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah. Totally missed opportunity. Like, killing 3 in one episode. You know, I'm sure Steve was happy about it.
I was just going to say that. I also wrote down in my notes, Steve must be really excited.
You know, but I guess maybe it's to demonstrate how bad this the Reapers are. I was kind of thinking, I was watching Talking Dead, and they were talking about, you know, would you have which of the Reapers or whatever would have been a Whisperer?
Now, isn't that funny? I'm getting Talking Dead really late. Yeah, really late. Anyway,
well,
sorry to interrupt you.
We're podcasting a week late, so
yeah, but I'm still getting it late.
So I was like, and they were talking about, you know, are people in these groups bad? And it's like, no, you probably just, you signed up with a group because it was about survival, you know? And I was thinking, you know, there are some groups that I don't think I would have stuck with. Yeah, I may have been a savior. You know, they weren't too terrible to the saviors. You know, they were terrible to other people, but I might have been a Reaper. You know, the Reapers, at least they're not wearing dead people faces, you know, like, or carving W's into their head. Like, there are worst crews out there to be with. So,
you know, I think that it would have been really easy to get sucked in by the governor.
Yes, absolutely. That was pretty early on, and Woodbury was a nice place to live, you know, other than the gladiator games that were going on with zombies.
Which, I mean, there are definitely some people who'd be like, they were zombies. Who cares?
Yeah. But I think maybe killing off the 3 characters was to demonstrate immediately just how terrible of a group we are dealing with. If we didn't already see that with the bodies hanging upside down lining the streets.
Right.
You know.
Well, Negan did have the line, you know, I've done theater and I know basically what it's like, and they just told us how completely insane they are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So not as meaningful a death as you would have liked somebody to get, but I think it served a purpose. And also, it is the last season, so we are probably going to see a whole lot of death. I kind of think we're going to lose Alden.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions about that.
Okay.
It's kind of more rotting potpourri-ish, but here we are. So first of all, I felt like the wound to his stomach was fairly significant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't see entrails coming out, but I felt like it was fairly significant.
Yeah,
and
it
then,
was into the viscera.
And then when the Reaper used the grenade or the flashbang or whatever it was, wasn't that the Reaper who was like right on top of Alden?
Yeah.
So tell me how Alden came away unscathed from that.
Okay.
You're like, okay, yes, as a matter of fact, I can.
The Reaper was on top of him and threw the flashbangs behind them.
Okay.
And so I think the Reaper absorbed more of the concussive force, basically inadvertently protecting Alden from the flashbangs.
Okay. I'm willing to accept that.
Okay. See, it's not all sloppy writing.
Or there are good fans who are willing to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, so what was your bad?
Okay, I'm going to swear again, but I'm not going to be horribly sweary. I wrote down, goddamn horses! So,
Poor Button!
It really bothered me. And, I did the whole horses and kids thing in my brain. And I actually messaged Rob and I said, I'm peacing out on The Walking Dead tonight. I'm not finishing this episode tonight because they just killed a bunch of horses. And he messaged me back and he was like, seriously? Those slow-ass zombies killed a bunch of horses? How'd they catch them?
I know, you texted me and you were like, what did you say? Carol is a terrible person?
No, I said Carol is a monster.
Carol is a monster,
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
So
I hadn't actually watched by then, so I'm like, oh crap, what did Carol do?
But so here's the other thing, because I was really thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, that's a fair point. At this point, I'm not entirely convinced that the desiccated, long dead zombies that we have would be able to catch horses. Because when they run, they run.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. So our people were walking at a freaking snail's pace and the zombies couldn't catch them, but they caught horses?
Yeah.
That's a little sloppy.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is maybe somehow and if it were one or two, this could have been plausible, but it seemed like there were at least 4 horses that were ripped apart.
Yes.
And also I would like to say that I kind of think that the zombies would have completely eaten them. Because if you go back to the one zombie that was trapped with Lori after Lori died.
Right.
He ate.
He gorged. Yeah. To the point where he was completely bloated.
I don't think enough zombies that would take over, a couple of horses would leave anything left. But if they snuck up on the horses when the horses were sleeping, I don't know.
But maybe. They weren't, because Carol and her group just lost them when they couldn't catch them.
Oh, I didn't think those are the same horses.
Oh, I thought it was the same horses.
I thought the horses that they came upon were dead for days.
Oh, no, I totally assumed it was the same horses, especially because of Kelly's reaction.
Yeah, I don't know.
You could be right, I could be wrong, but I'm not convinced I am.
I did notice that one of the horses that was running in the field was not one of the horses that they brought back, because I really, really loved it. It was a brown horse with white socks and a white tail. And I just think that's a really cool color combo. And I did not see that horse go back to town with them.
Well, you probably didn't see it because Carol probably saved it so she could kill it.
Right? They probably had a herd of walkers walking behind it, so she hobbled that horse so that, like, the walkers would be distracted.
So, you know, and that is part of my whole thing about the horses, so I'm just going to say it in my bad. Carol is a monster. I get it that she was trying to feed their people. I get it that the children were hungry. To have the... I'm not even sure what to say. The degree of coldness to lead that beautiful horse in, lay it down, and then slit its throat. She's a monster.
Look at the flowers.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was actually, you're exactly right. This was the season 11 look at the flowers moment.
Well, that was a Ryan Hurst comment on Talking Dead, so I can't take complete credit for it.
Yeah, and I would know that if I could get Talking Dead.
But he was, it's so right, that this is cold calculating Carol, and your bad was my ugly, so we'll just keep talking about it.
Okay.
I initially wrote that Carol is so selfish, and then later on I went back and wrote next to it, but she's right. So when I wrote Carol is selfish, it was in reference to when she basically kind of looked at the people that were pulling up the fence, getting the fence in place with Aaron, and they're struggling, and she just stood there and kind of stared at him for a while, and I'm like, go help. But no, she goes into the pantry or whatever and is doing her own thing. And
doesn't she say to Aaron something like, I don't have time for this today?
Yeah. And I'm just like, she's so selfish, but, she told him, we're not going to survive without those horses. We're not going to be able to carry anything heavier than a bag of flour, and we're not going to be able to go out as far to scavenge for things. So she's right. I hate it, but she's right. I don't want her to be, but she's right.
But I am also going to say that her whole, oh, well, I'm doing this so that I can get the horses so that we can do all of these things with the horses. I was like, well, that was a good fake.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Because, what did she do with the horse that she had? She immediately laid it down and killed it.
Yeah, but to feed people. I hate it. This is why it's my ugly.
I know, and you're right. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
But it was horrible.
But she's still selfish, and she's still very cold and calculating, but she's not wrong. I don't know what to do with that. That's why it is my ugly. And, do you kill a horse and feed everybody and give them the strength to go on and,
yes, you probably do. You probably do.
Yeah, or do you wait till everyone is starving and then kill the horse anyway, So, yeah. It's a tough call. Honestly, like I said, I think there were about 6 horses, so maybe I would have felt a little better if there weren't just 3 left, because 3 is not a lot of horses to do much with.
Well, but Carol knows how to kill them, so
hopefully we can herd more into the dairy farm.
Right.
Yeah. So that was my ugly. What was your ugly?
So my ugly was a good ugly, and it was really, well, it was a good and a bad ugly. I'm borrowing a page from your book. I really liked Alden's speech when he was basically like, this is my decision and you need to go. Because by going forward, you are saving people, including Adam, the child that he's raising as his own child.
Uh-huh.
So I just really loved it. And I know that he's been a secondary character and he's probably not been a favorite for a lot of people, but I've always really liked the character and I liked that speech coming from him.
I always forget that he was a savior. And
I totally forgot that he was a savior. I actually had to Google it.
And so, like, he and Negan were saviors. And here Maggie is all worried about, but not Negan.
Yeah.
So,
but the other thing that I wanted to say, and then we can talk, kind of glide into Rotting Potpourri, is I also am bummed out because I feel like this is a mistreatment of a secondary character that I really love.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to see him taken out this way, and I do think that he's going to be taken out. I think they're going to come back and find zombie Alden.
So, the show is really, really good about foreshadowing things with offhanded stuff. And Alden said, let's be honest, I'm dead weight. You have to admit I'm dead weight or something like that. And I was like, oh, man, you just signed your death warrant, dude. Like, calling yourself dead weight. They're going to come back. And, yeah, you're right. They're probably going to find zombie Alden. I figured we would get, like, maybe a death scene or, like, the Reapers would find him and he'd go out fighting. But you're right. They're going to find zombie Alden.
Well, and, like, when he slammed that pew up against the door, just the pan back and the pain that he was having and kind of the way that his face was discolored and kind of the whole thing, he looked like somebody who was on his way out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know how, like, because they seem like slashes to his stomach. Like, one of them got him with one of those mini scythes or whatever they are. And like you said, there wasn't any intestines or anything spilling out, but those were still pretty deep. I don't know how much that area bleeds. But
pretty bloody.
Yeah.
Okay, I am not going to lie, and I'm going to fully disclose to the podcast audience, I may be getting a food delivery here in a few minutes because they're delivering sooner than I thought they would. So if the dogs start barking, the Dasher is supposed to leave it on the doorstep, but, here we are.
Oh, yeah. We actually have a table on our porch, and our DoorDash thing says, please leave it on the table on the porch and do not ring the doorbell. If the dogs do not alert us that you're on the porch, the Ring camera will.
Right. So, sorry, guys. It's probably going to get loud here in a little bit.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Sorry, I totally distracted us. But yes, I'm bummed, but I really liked the speech that Alden gave us. So
yeah. So, and here's the other thing that I was thinking about in the show with, so we saw Negan get hit in like the upper leg area with an arrow.
So there was actually an article. Did you see the article about that?
I did not.
There was an article making exactly the point that I think you're going to make.
Okay, so we saw that, and then we saw Father Gabriel have an ice pick stabbed through his knee or upper leg. And now we have Alden with these wounds to his stomach. Even if we don't die of blood loss or, we can't run faster than a zombie or a Reaper or whatever, they don't have a lot of supplies. They're probably going to die of infection in a few weeks in the real world. If this were the real world, because, man, those are deep wounds.
But Uma Thurman did survive having a nasty needle full of old epinephrine shoved in her heart in Pulp Fiction, so anything is possible.
Well, in Kill Bill, she dug her way out of a grave, so, I mean,
anything's
that's
possible.
Just Uma Thurman.
So the article that I looked at didn't exactly make the same point. It was basically like, The Walking Dead's kind of implying that some of these serious injuries that are potentially life-ending really aren't. And they went back and even talked about Daryl getting that big knife stuck in his leg when he was fighting Alpha.
We completely complained about that, too.
Which was totally a femoral stick, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just needed a nap.
He needed a nap.
Yeah, like, nap and he's fine. Like...
Dude, okay, I'm going to brag, and you actually had the right response. I need a nap. I actually deadlifted 75 pounds today, 4 sets of 10. I know it's not 500 pounds like some people I know, but...
But this is like What, like, is this like your third session, your training session?
No, I think I've probably seen him 6 or 7 times now.
Okay.
But I did go and join the weightlifting gym down the street from me. So
Ooh.
Here we are. Look
Nice.
out, everybody.
Nice. So I think we are squarely into rotting potpourri.
Yeah, we are. Sorry, I just had to brag about that.
So what's up with the Judas Walker tied to the tree and burned?
I don't know, but you know what it made me think of?
What?
I distinctly remember Daryl saying a line, "I ain't a Judas." And I looked it up, and there was actually an episode in season 3. I think it was season 3, episode 11, and the title of the episode was "I Ain't a Judas." And so what I keep seeing is like all these callbacks. That felt like a callback. Like being in the church, Maggie, Alden, and Negan being in the church felt like a callback to season 2 when they went into that church and they were looking for Sophia, and Rick was like looking at the statue of Jesus, like basically saying, "Dude, you got to help me out here."
Well, and then we were in, Gabe's church.
Yeah.
We had the callback to Buttons.
Yes, and we had the mention of Abe.
Yes.
So I kind of feel like season 11 is going to be really deep in callbacks because it's the last season.
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
So I don't know what's up with the Judas Walker, but that was totally what it made me think of, and it made me kind of go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, so I think the Judas Walker is obviously something to have to do with the Reapers.
Yeah.
But like, what made that guy be a Judas that warranted tying him to a tree and burning him up, I would assume alive? Yeah, that's kind of scary. And again, just another push towards how, this is how terrible the Reapers are. So, yeah. What did you think of the conversation between Magna and Carol about Connie and Kelly, or Kelly and Connie?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's foreshadowing Connie coming back. I wasn't really like, oh my god, how could Magna say that to Carol? Or, she is right, Carol is a horrible human. No, I was way more overwrought about the horse.
See, and I kind of get where Magna is coming from, but I'm also like, Magna's like, stop giving Kelly false hope. And it's like, but you don't know, like, and of course, if I were Carol, I would feel guilty enough that I would go out every single day looking for Connie until I found some sign of Connie alive or dead, like,
which she is not doing. I don't see her doing that, do you?
I thought that's what her and Kelly going out
was. God, I totally misread that.
Yeah, and that's why Kelly missed guard duty with Magna.
I completely misread that.
Yeah. And so Carol is taking Kelly out to look for Connie this entire time. And Magna's getting ticked off because it's giving Kelly false hope. And then every time they come home without Connie, Kelly, loses a little bit of something. So I kind of, I get where Magna's coming from, but also, like, who are you to tell Carol not to do something and to stop giving someone hope? Like,
that's a fair point. There's not much in the way of hope in this zombie apocalypse at this point, so that's a fair point.
Yeah. We could all die tomorrow.
We could all use a little hope. My God, in the world we're living in, we could all die tomorrow.
Right?
Actually, okay, I'm gonna take us off the beaten track again. So I actually watched George W. Bush's address to the people of Shanksville, Pennsylvania today. And I've made no bones over the years about my politics, and I'm shocked that George Bush is coming off as a hero, but here we are. It's been a crazy last 6 years. his speech was lovely, and one of the things that he said and he talked about in his speech was how September 11th really brought it home to so many of us that we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time with each other.
Yeah. And I mean, you never know when the last time you say goodbye or hug someone that is really the last goodbye or the last hug.
I gotta tell you, people, life is short, time is wasting, nothing is promised. That's my take home tonight. I say that all the time.
Yeah. Especially if you're a kid or a horse in the zombie
Right? Thank you for bringing us back to The Walking Dead. I do want to say that I had an ER nurse moment when Gabe pulled that pick out of his leg. I was like, when you remove tamponade from a puncturing wound, you potentially can bleed out. That's not smart. You're supposed to leave it in place. Now, okay, the rule is you're supposed to leave it in place until you get to definitive care, and he doesn't have definitive care, so fair enough. But I did have an ER nurse moment.
I was going to say, I kind of think that was one of those where it was maybe hindering him from walking, and taking it out was better just to get him mobile. But I get what you're saying. I was actually just watching something the other day where, I forget what I was watching, but like somebody was stabbed somewhere and they immediately took the knife or whatever out, and it just started like spurting blood. And I'm
exactly.
Like, you always leave it in.
That's why we tell people to leave it in. Yeah.
Yep.
But until you can get to definitive care. And that's not true in this world, so I have to be fair about that.
Yeah.
I also want to say that watching the kids playing cards, that was cute. And I looked at Kaylee Fleming and I was like, oh my God, she doesn't even look like the same kid from a season ago.
I was taken aback by how much RJ has grown and matured.
That, that's always been a challenging thing. And I mean, we talked about it with Carl. Kids age pretty quickly, and the time frame that we're supposed to have in the comic book and the time frame that we're supposed to have in the show is not consistent with how kids age.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of have this ongoing story with kids because, we take filming breaks and we have COVID enforced filming breaks and,
Yeah. And, I forget what it was in reference to. You and I were talking about it, and I was like, you don't have to kill the baby or kill the kid or whatever, because, like, in shows, like, okay, you have a couple of episodes with, what was that, your food delivery?
Yeah, but he dropped it off on my porch, so we're all good.
Hopefully, like, it stays on your porch and no bears get it.
Right. I live in a very urban part of Alaska now, so...
So it would be moose, not bear.
No, I live in a very urban... Although apparently there are a number of moose over in this area. Actually, when the handsome dude and I were out the other night, we saw a beautiful cow moose. Oh my God, she was gorgeous. Yeah. Just gorgeous. In a neighborhood, in a very populated neighborhood.
I was going to say, plus you got a little bit of a green belt behind your house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you go a couple of episodes and you have an infant, and then like you don't see the kid for like about a season and a half, and all of a sudden it's 10, you know, like
exactly.
Yeah. So, but like, I feel like the last time, like I was cognizant of RJ, and I think he's been in.
He was like running around in his little stripy pajamas.
Yeah, like he was like playing with sand on the beach, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah.
And he was like almost nonverbal, like he was just learning words, and now he's playing cards. He's a little card shark.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's the same actor. It's Anthony Azar, so. I guess it's just a case of, they grow up so fast. But yeah, that was very, very cute. And I loved the topic of conversation because
the adults. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I think have had this where, I think we've talked about this, and it was in reference to, Herschel, where it's like, you know, mom goes off and you don't know if she's coming back or not, you know, and it seems like all the kids probably have that feeling, you know. Aaron goes on a run and Gracie doesn't know if he's coming back, or, you know, Judith, you know, has lost her dad and now Michonne is on a quest. And so, yeah, I liked that, and I liked the horse. Although I think Herschel's advice of taking really tiny bites
and eating it really fast.
I'm just like, tiny bites seems counterintuitive to, like, you know, eating something and not liking it. Like, you'd want to take large bites and get it over quickly. And yeah, I don't know if I could eat spiders. I think I may
that was a cool comment.
Yeah, I think I might starve to death instead of eating spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, no spiders. That is really all that I had about the episode.
I'm not sure if I have more. So Maggie, when she threw that knife and hit the Reaper that was on Alden, I was like, Maggie's throw. Wow. I mean, sometimes it feels like some of the things that we see our characters doing kind of stretch credulity a little bit.
Yeah, you know,
I know we're 10 years in. I know she was a farm girl. Actually, they should have had the farm girl wrangling horses.
Yeah, there you go. Alden, Colin McAuliffe?
Callum McAuliffe?
Yeah. He was on Talking Dead, and he was talking, he made a snide joke about, like, a remark about, their Olympian level archery skills.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, what else do you have to do in the apocalypse but, like, have babies and practice your knife throwing?
They're not doing a very good job having babies.
That's very true.
You know, I mean, the kids that we saw are not babies.
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, the only other thing that I think I have written down, because I absolutely love this trick. I have used it myself before when I was a single gal living in a big city. The bottles balanced on the door handles. Yeah. It's such a smart move. I loved it.
I brought it up briefly. I want to bring it up again. Rosita dreaming about Abe.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I wanted to comment on is she says that he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
That is actually more consistent with the way that he died in the comic book. He got shot through the eye with an arrow, if I remember correctly.
Good point.
Or it might have, that was not Glenn's death. It was Abe's death. That's how Abe died. Denise got his death.
Yeah.
So the death that Rosita is dreaming is more consistent.
Yeah, I thought it was also it was intentional that it was somehow intentional that she saw him getting shot in the head instead of how she actually saw him die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that has to mean something, which is hopefully how and why we will get a cameo again by Michael Cutlass.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
I did say that we saw the Maggie that we used to know interacting with Marcus. She was very compassionate with him and very tender, and, you know, kind of the, I'm sorry this happened to you.
Yeah, I liked their little interlude there where he's like, you know, we were lucky.
Yeah.
You know, don't be sorry, we were lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Still sad to see him go, because like I said, I've been crushing on him since episode 1.
Episode 1 of this.
Episode 1 of the season. Yeah.
I am just skimming through really, really, really quick. Yeah, I wrote goddamn Carol for killing that beautiful horse. I also thought Maggie's comment to Negan, this is your fault because you destroyed everything that we had built, was really interesting. I really liked that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can't say that. You can't point a finger at that because so much has happened since him. You had did the wolves happen after Saviors or before?
Before.
Okay, you had the Whisperers. So, but I mean, yeah, the Saviors did a lot of bad stuff, but would we have had a worse war with the Whisperers, or would we have had a better chance against the Whisperers? You can't. Yeah, he destroyed what he destroyed when he destroyed it, but a lot of crap has happened since then.
I just thought it was kind of cool. I liked her perspective. It may not be accurate, but I liked it.
But it is her perspective. That's what I always have to remind myself, is she has not been here over the past few years. She's not seen the progression of Negan's character, and she's the most aggrieved by him.
I was just going to say, and again, the bottom line is it doesn't matter how much Negan has changed or not, because he beat her husband to death with a baseball bat.
Which is why he has to die for baby Herschel. I'm telling you, it's got to be how it ends.
Oh my God. All right. The very last thing, speaking of how it ends, that I'm going to say is the mournful music at the end when they're showing Negan and Maggie walking. I think that's like some of the best stuff. That's the kind of stuff that we see from Bear McCreary that I love. That Bear McCreary is the composer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He always does quiet and mournful very, very well.
So did he do the music? So it seemed like every time that Maggie was in danger in the beginning of the episode, there was this weird music, and I felt like I knew it from somewhere, and I actually felt like I knew it from another horror movie or a sci-fi movie.
Oh, I think it's all original music for The Walking Dead. I mean, unless they take a song and feature a song, which they have not done in a long time. He is now writing with someone else, and I'm sorry I don't remember that person's name. So someone has taken some of the writing responsibilities for Walking Dead, but he was the primary music composer for Walking Dead for many seasons. It's only been in the last couple of seasons that someone else has started to write with him. And he actually, I don't know if you ever watched any of Outlander, but he actually did the music for Outlander.
I did. I think I made it through like the first half a season.
Such commitment.
There was so much good television on at the time.
Yeah. I had read like the first 3 or 4 books in this series and kind of dropped off after that. But so I was happy with it. I don't think I'm going to go back and watch it again at any point, just because I watched it with the ex and I don't want those memories. But
yeah, I kind of feel like now is when we're going to start to see that lull in shows due to COVID, because there was a lot of stuff in the can, when COVID hit, and then we stopped filming. So we started showing the stuff that we had already filmed, and this goes for The Walking Dead and all other shows. And so now we're going to start to see that gap come around where we're going to run out of shows. So
oh no, now we're gonna have World Beyond and Fear.
Oh, they found a way to film. All right, well, next week is episode 4, Rendition,
which you really liked.
I really liked, and we are back on track to podcast on time. So
yeah, what are we gonna probably podcast Monday night?
I think so.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm not going to be deadlifting on Monday, but I will be seeing Carlo on Monday. So I'll probably be tired again.
And so you'll probably hear this episode, and then just a couple of days later, Dial post Rendition. Yep. So I would say until next.
Edit this one until tomorrow, but I'll edit and post tomorrow.
That's fine. I was just going to say, usually I say until next week, but, for the next few days, just remember... Take it one dead day
At a time.
All right. Have a good couple of days, everybody.
Have a good couple of days. Bye. Bye.